What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So I haven't done an update on my Ironman in about, I think I looked at it and it said about 3 weeks or so. So I decided that what better time to give you all an update on how the Ironman's going than right now. So I guess we should start off with the stats and how far they've come since last video. Not a whole lot to talk about, although there has been some pretty decent gains on them. We're now sitting at 75 attack with 72 strength. I believe last video we were at 70. I don't play this account all the time, but I do put in some good time into it. I do have 72 Slayer, which I got today as well, and I've been doing some Barrows runs, so that has been giving me some XP and some items that we'll be talking about pretty soon when we get into looking at the bank. Aside from that, though, not a whole lot going on with the stats themselves. I believe I got a few range levels from last video, back up to 51 now. Obviously on the way to level 70. As you already know, I do have a Carol's crossbow in the bank, and that is not a spoiler for anything else because that was said in the last episode. Also, I do have, I think, another couple cooking and fishing levels. Obviously, I've been doing that for some food and whatnot, but nothing else has really changed too much from my current stats. Moving into the bank, we do have my first tab. I have cleaned it up quite a bit, and you will see my first tab is kind of blank. I do have these strange rocks, which are basically, for the time being, useless as I'm not going for doing the statue. I'll probably just keep them in my bank until I do go for that. I believe they give XP, so maybe I should use them, but I have not used them yet, and maybe I should rethinking that plan there. Champion Scroll, which has been there forever, Mythal Seeds, etc., etc. Ghostly Essence, which I believe is used to update the Ectoplasmator, and I have 100 I think I need, so I have 113, and I need 100 and I have 113, I should probably update that. I did a quest today, which would be Death of Chivalry, which gave me the Black Knight Captain's outfit. I started to do a couple of quests. I believe I got done Death Plateau as well, which gives me access to Godwar's Dungeon, or at least it should, with the rock climbing boots. So now I can start maybe focusing in on that once we do get to stats that are at a reasonable pace to be going to Godwar's Dungeon with. Along from that, I also got a Triskelion Fragment. I've got that from a Barrows chest, my first one. I also have received, I believe, 4 elite clues from Barrows. I've not been able to complete them yet. I do them as far as I can and then have to drop them. So I am on the verge of actually being able to complete an elite clue. Probably next one I'll get should only be like a 1-step clue, and I'll be able to get the casket from it, which would be kind of cool. And it could actually benefit me greatly if I got some sort of god-trimmed item from that clue. Bandos in particular would be nice, so I don't have to wear a Bandos book, but anything would be nice, obviously, from that. Rune Longsword should be elked. This is, by the way, part of the captain's, part of the, what do you call it there, the quest that this came from, the Death of Chivalry. That's another quest item. Should probably go in there, along with all of this stuff as well, because this is not exactly the correct order of this bank now, is it? Rune Long should probably be elked. There we go. Next tab is our General Combat tab, and you will probably see some spoilers in here. You can already see a couple. I will get to them in a little bit, though. I've kind of cleaned this tab up. Now, we've been mainly using lobsters, basically, because fishing tuna and swordfish has been very, very slow. So I switched over to using lobsters, basically. My runes up top haven't really changed too much. My bloods and my deaths, maybe because of the Barrows runs. But aside from that, nothing really should have changed there. A few more bolt racks, obviously, due to Barrow runs. I had the Airman's book and the Carol's crossbow last time. Barrow's totems went up, obviously, of course, as well. And if we move our way down here, these are just some random magic gear, mystic glove, mystic hat type, mystic glove, mystic hat, there we go. Mystic bottoms, there we go, a little bit of that. Some of my range armor. And then, more importantly, these 3 items, which these 2 are doubles. So today I was doing Barrows runs, and I was lucky enough to get a Torag's hammer, which is now a used Torag's hammer since I've been kind of using it. And also I got a Guthan's War Spear, which is quite neat. And that Guthan's War Spear will come in handy when I do get my stats up enough to be doing Corp Beast if I don't have a Zami Spear, although I'm believing I will. Most likely have a Zami and possibly a Chaotic if I ever get my butt over the Dungeoneering. So maybe the Guthan's War Spear won't be as useful as I'm thinking it will be, but there's always the possibility of me being completely lazy and just ending up at Corp Beast before Godwar's Dungeon. But we'll see how that works out. There's obviously quests involved with Corporal Beast, and I need to get working on that quest line. What is it? Summer's End and Summer's Night or something along those lines. They're not too difficult, but I really should get those done so I can start doing Corp Beast. I have a War Priest of Zami Boots, which I explained before was from a werewolf. When there was that glitch where you kill werewolves inside of Caniffs and they drop the War Priest armor. Yeah, thanks, Jagex. Also, I got a dragon helm from an Aberrant Spectre, which is quite nice. So now I have a tier 60 helm, and that combined with all this and my tier 60 legs and tier 50 body, whatever the hell it is, it's been nice to be doing barrows runs with. I've been using the Torag's hammer with the barrows run, and it has been making my runs so much nicer. I have 2 of them, like I said. What I'm going to do with them, I don't know. I'll probably end up just keeping them. I can elk one, but it only elks for 96k, I believe. And that's not really worth it in my opinion. I don't have much money, but 96k isn't really going to make or break me. That's 1.2 mil, by the way. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it. Most likely keep it on the off chance that I somehow lose my other one. I always have a backup weapon other than the Guthan's War Spear. So might as well just keep them, I suppose. Still Gauntlets, Myth Boots, Enchanted Gem. Nothing else really to look in there. Herb tab, not a lot in here. Bunch of herbs. I cleaned some of them, all of them, most of the ones I could. I got a lot of kind of saved up XP. I should probably be making these Renars into prayer potions, but I have them there. I don't really need them. I don't use them right now, so those are all for future use, basically. When we do eventually hit up Godwar's Dungeon, tab of seed, basically. My crafting tab, I've gotten quite a few more gems. I usually cut them as soon as I get them and just toss them in there, so I don't even know why I have the bank saver right there, but I guess it looks nice. Got a couple more Dragonstone gems themselves as well, and a few more diamonds. The Dragonstone gems I've been getting from Crystal Keys. I've been getting Crystal Keys from doing Slayer, and that's how I've been getting them, pretty much. Moving on to the next tab would be our Smithing Mining tab. Not a lot changed in here. I do have a bit more iron ore. I went and camped flesh crawlers, I believe, for some iron ore, and I got a couple of nice drops. I believe they drop up to 15 noted. And it's actually a really good idea. If you need iron ore, go kill those, and they drop noted iron ore. And they also drop herbs, not noted herbs, but they drop herbs. And you can obviously pick and choose which ones you need, and then grabbing the noted iron ore along the way. It's actually not too bad, and a lot better than, you know, mining. I was just doing some range down there and getting some range levels while, you know, working on my smithing. So I need to be getting my smithing up because I do need to be able to smelt gold into gold bars at level 40 eventually. So I can start, that's why I have all these gems, because I can't actually craft them into anything useful. So I'm not going to craft them into anything until I can actually make the games necklace, dual arena rings. I'm going to make a strength amulet, and then these can be turned into skill necklaces most likely. This can be turned into something different. These will be turned into glories most likely. I don't know what these get turned into. Does anyone know what a diamond is turned into? Is that the 4 and 3 bracelet? I think it might be the 4 and 3 bracelet I can turn those into. So I'll probably turn those into that. I did actually do a lot of fletching. If you look at my fletching, I am now level 50 fletching and 52 woodcut. I was doing that for a bit because I wanted to be able to make a better weapon for range, and I did, and I made quite a few oak bows, and I made a bunch of other stuff. I've actually sold a few of them, made a little bit of money off of those, made a little bit of XP off of it as well, which is not a bad thing, so that was pretty cool. Strange rock can go in there, by the way. I don't know why we have these in here. I'll make a separate tab for that. But yeah, I trained a bit of fletching. My idea for the account, obviously, eventually, for anybody's account, is to comp cape, so any little push towards the XP goals is more than welcomed. I made a bunch of stocks because those are teaks, and I didn't have anything. This can probably go in there. I made a bunch of teak stocks because I had a bunch of teak logs and didn't really have anything to do with them, so I'm like, meh. And then someone's like, why don't you make teak planks? I'm like, well, that's a bit too late now, ain't it? Summoning tab, bunch of junk, and your quest tab, bunch of junk, basically. That's just kind of... I have a big swordfish. Kappa. So that's the quest tab, and that's what my character looks like. Done. And just so people can see, this is kind of our setup for... No. These things used to be a dual-wielded weapon, I thought. Or maybe it just was put in 2 hands, but now it's just a single... Well, it's a 2-handed weapon, but it's put into just 2 hands. I mean, like, there's only 1 of them. There used to be 2 of them. And I believe the Torag animation in the dungeon still has 2 of them. So I'm not exactly sure if Jagex did it on accident or not, but this now just has a single weapon, and I'm pretty sure the one inside of Barrows has 2 of them. You might want to take a look at that. But that's going to be the update for the Ironman so far. Basically, I did have a list, which was this. 80 attack, 70 plus weapon gear, and optional and Godwar's Dungeon. Godwar's Dungeon, probably not so much. I did get a 70 plus weapon, obviously. I got 3 of them now, which isn't what I really intended to do. I meant to get 1 weapon and a bunch of pieces of body armor, because armor would be the next thing to get right now. But I ended up getting those and then going back and doing some Slayer. I do need to go back and do some more Slayer and get my stats back up, obviously, to be 80 plus roughly is what I'd like to be able to be before I go to Godwar's Dungeon. hopefully. And if not that, then I would always go to QBD. I need to do the QBD mini quest beforehand to get the buff on QBD, which I believe I need 60 summoning in order to do that as well, which will be a bit of a struggle for me at the moment. I need to continue on collecting charms. I do not have a charming imp. I should probably start dungeoneering so I can get these kind of useful items. I don't really think I'll be dungeoneering for chaotics, as I'll be able to get a tier 80 bow from QBD eventually, and then I'll be able to get tier 80 stuff from the Elven City if I really wanted to. I don't think I'll really have to. Or I could always just go and, well, I could always just go and use God Wars dungeon items like the God Swords. They're only tier 75, they're not going to really make or break me in using those for anything in particular. So I don't really have a reason to get chaotics except for the fact that I probably need to get 120 dungeoneering so I can comp on this account at some point in time, and I better get them later than never. But that's what, you know, that's for a later date. So that's gonna wrap this account up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Not exactly a brief update now, was it? But that's gonna do it, and I will see y'all in the next video.